The great dragon called together the rest, and spoke to them. How is it possible to rest, when every day I see new injuries heaped upon me by this incarnate Word, and by this woman, who conceived and bore him as man? Where is my strength? Where is my power? And of what use is my fury and the triumphs which I gained over him among mortals ever since God without reason cast me from the heavens to this abyss? It seems, my friends, that the Omnipotent intends to seal up the portals of these infernal regions and open up those of heaven, which would be the destruction of our reign and of all my coveted designs to drag to these torments the rest of mankind. If God, besides having redeemed men, works for them such miracles, if he shows them such love and seeks to draw them to his friendship by such powerful works of his right hand, they will permit themselves to be overcome, even if they have the disposition of wild beasts and hearts of adamant. All will love and serve him, if they are not more obstinate and rebellious than we ourselves. What soul can be so callous as not to be drawn to this God-man, who with such a tender love seeks its eternal glory? Saul was our friend, a willing instrument of my designs, subject to my will and command, an enemy of the crucified, and I had destined him for most cruel torments in this hell. In the midst of all this, God suddenly snatches him from my hands, and by his divine power raises this insignificant creature of the earth to such high grace and favours that we, his enemies, are astounded. What has Paul done to deserve such an exceeding good fortune? What was he not in my service, offending his God? If God has been so liberal with him, what protection will he not lavish upon other less grievous sinners? And even if he does not convert them by such great miracles, he will gain them through baptism and the other sacraments, by which they can justify themselves day by day. This example of God's mighty defence of the Church, at the time when I attempted to destroy it through Saul, will draw all the world to his service. Is it possible that I should see vile humankind raised to the grace and happiness which I have lost, and that it should occupy the heaven from which I have been hurled? This thought torments me more furiously than the fires of hell. I am filled with a powerless rage against myself, for not being able to destroy myself in my wrath. Would that God himself would do it, instead of preserving me in these torments. But since this is not to be, tell me, my vassals, what shall we do against this so powerful God? Him we cannot injure, but in those whom he loves so much we can avenge ourselves, because in them we can oppose his will. And since my majesty is most offended and incensed against this woman, our enemy, who gave him human being, I wish to inaugurate new ways of destroying her and avenging ourselves for having robbed us of Saul and cast us into these abysses. I shall not rest until I shall have vanquished her. For this purpose I resolve to execute all the plans formed against God and man after my fall from heaven. Come, all of you, to help me in my designs and to execute my will." Such were the words of exhortation addressed to the demons by Lucifer. Some of them answered, "Our captain and leader, we are ready to obey thee, knowing how much this woman, our foe, oppresses and torments us. But it is possible that she by herself, without other aid, may resist us, despising all our efforts and attacks, as we have seen on other occasions, when she showed herself altogether our superior in strength. What she feels most is to see us attack the followers of her Son, because she loves them and is solicitous about them as a mother. Let us raise a general persecution against the faithful, for we have at our service the whole of Judaism, now incensed against the new church of the crucified. Through the priests and Pharisees we may succeed in all our attempts against the faithful, and thus vent our wrath against this hostile woman." Lucifer approved of this counsel, and showed favours to the demons who had given it. Thus agreed, they issued forth to destroy the church by the hands of others, just as they had attempted it through Saul. Thence resulted what I shall relate further on, and also the battle of the most holy Mary against the dragon and his hosts, wherein she gained such great victories for the Holy Church. To this battle I referred in the 6th chapter of the first part, and there stated that I had reserved it for this place. Of it I shall speak in the next chapter.